So, good morning, everyone. This is the first class of our fundamental city design in the first semester. So, for today, we are going to introduce the basic operation inside rhinoceros. There are a lot of hotkey we are going to use. So, please, you must bring your mouse and also your keyboard here. Otherwise, it will be a little hard for you to use in this kind of computer-aided design software no matter it's about Rhinoceros, Blender, or other software. So please remember that. Usually we will using both keyboard and also your mouse devices. So let's take a look about these files. Basically, for the first part of the design of this class, we will using this type of file as the cases to do the practice. So you can take a look. Basically, every frame, every row means one cases. So I will lead you guys to go through these cases so that you can understand what this is about. All right. So for example, like this one, the first step, draw a vertical curve. Second step, draw a horizontal curve. Third step, combine them together. Finally, get the surface. So this is the operation process about the sweep one. This is the name of the command. Okay. So basically, if you just in case if you cannot completely follow my operation, maybe my operation speed is a little bit too fast, just take a look about our reference file. And on the bottom part, we already have some hint right here. Probably it's not completely hint for you guys, but still you can take a look. So with the help with this of these case studies, and also the help of our AI tutor, I think it is okay for you guys to finish the practice. And for today's class, we're going to do this one, the alien juicers. That will be the final part for this class. So I hope that all of you, by the end of this class, you can finish a case like this. Probably for some of you, it will be very, very simple, but for some of you, it will be a little bit intense. So just in case, if you are already familiar with this kind of basic operation, it is fine, up to you. You can just take a rest and do the things you want. But if you are not that familiar with the 3D software, then please follow my operations. All right, so let's take a look about the first part. So this is the first part for today. We can select them, and you can click this button. So this one can help you to zoom into the selected object. So let's take a look. For now, you don't have to follow my operation. Just take a look and pay attention to my introduction. It will be quite enough. Rhinoceros is a 3D software, and it's a very typical computer-aided design 3D software, and it provides you guys 3 different ways of modeling. So first one, the nervous surface modeling. The second one, mesh polygon modeling. The third one is subdivision modeling. So what's the difference between these three? Basically, once you know these 3 different type of modeling way, then you know all about the 3D modeling things, all right? For the rest part, like voxel or another cloud point, that kind of things, in the end, they still have to be transferred into these 3 different types. So the most important thing is to understand the difference between these 3 different types so that you know which one will be suitable for your missions. For example, if you are going to do your product design, then maybe you need to use in the first way to do the modeling. And if you are going to make your character models, then second way will be better. And subdivision way, yes, if you want to make some free form or highly detailed organic stuff, the third way will be the best solution for you. So please understand these 3 different ways. So let's take a look. First things about the nervous modeling. Again, you don't have to follow my operation, just take a look, we will be fine. Next is the major modeling way for this class. So for Rhinoceros, basically it's a surface modeling software. So we're using the surface modeling way to do most of the models inside Rhinoceros. So what's the meaning of the surface or nerves modeling way? If you have ever using Illustrator, let me type that one for you guys. If you have ever using Adobe Illustrator, and I think you're supposed to know the difference between Illustrator and Photoshop, right? Is there anyone who has the experience about using Adobe Illustrator or an Adobe Photoshop? Can you raise your hand, please? Okay, some of you raise your hand. For the rest of people, probably you're using another alternative software. It is okay. So basically, since you're using this one before, then you know this one, the difference between these two. The first one, sorry for that. The first one is a vector software, right? They are vector. Another one is pixel. So the difference between the vector and the pixel is that the vector software, basically it gives you a formula. For every curve, for every point inside the software, it means one formula. And for once you have this formula and input your parameter, it will generate a curve or a surface, something like that, a surface like this for you, right? So this is the vector things. Everything right here is a formula. And how about the pixels? For the pixel things, basically all the things you see are, if you join the Google Meet, please turn off your microphone so that it won't have the echoes. All right, let's keep moving forward. So how about the pixel things? For the pixel things, basically all the things you see is composed by multiple pixels so that we have the resolution, right? So we have the probably a 1K resolution, 2K resolution, etc. So this is about the pixel things. And it's very similar. We have the very similar situation inside the 3D software. For Rhinosis, the surface modeling actually is very similar to formula, very similar to vector drawing software. And for the polygon modeling, actually it's very similar to pixel modeling. So for this one, take a look. If we take a look and zoom in into this model, you can see that no matter how we zoom in or how we zoom out, basically the curves still stay in the same. Or if we enlarge this one, the curve is always stay in the same smoothness. That's because the curve right here and the surface right here, they are the vector surface and the vector for curve. And if we take a look about the second one, this one is the mesh and polygon modeling. It's very similar to pixel. So if we take a look and zoom in, you will see for sure first thing is that on the surface, there are some soft grid on the surface geometries. So actually for the polygon modeling, it was composed by multiple mesh, including this kind of core mesh or triangle mesh. So once we zoom in, you can see that on the edge part, it becomes pixelated. See, it becomes pixelated. There are multiple sections, multiple segments on the surface. And if we enlarge this one, this kind of thing will look much more obvious. So although the shape looks pretty much the same, but once we look at the detail, they will look different. All right? So why we need to using vector drawing for making product? And why we have to use the polygon modeling for making your game project, your game scenes, or maybe some 3D assets inside your animation project? Why is that? Because for this one, it can keep the smoothness. So no matter how you zoom in, zoom out, how you enlarge it or reduce the size, it will always stay in the same smoothness. So just in case, just using your imagination, if you are going to create a super huge product, maybe like a giant airplane or something, you cannot use this one because once you enlarge this one or scale down this model, then your surface will become pixelated. It doesn't have enough resolution to do that. So we need to use in the first way. But for the second way, the mesh modeling, well, for this one, well, it can have a better performance, especially you're computing, you're going to calculate a huge scenes of 3D modeling things like a city or like a forest, that kind of stuff. This one perform better. So that's the difference between these two. For the first one, if you want to get a very accurate, very precise 3D model, we will using the first one for building the models. For the second one, basically, if you're going to make a very huge scene, and also it requires a very high computing and rendering qualities, then we will using the second way for making the 3D model. And how about the subdivision ways? Let's take a look. If we take a look about a subdivision way, actually you can see that it's very similar to the second one, but it has a very smooth edge, right? But the tricky thing of the subdivision is that actually it's pretty much the same thing just like a polygon. It's just using your computing power to hide some of the edge it's supposed to show up on your model surface. So let's take a little example. For your model, if you want to have this kind of smooth surface, based on the idea of the polygon, you're supposed to have a lot of edge on this model, right? You're supposed to have a lot of mesh on this model. But for the subdivision way, we're using your computing power, we're using the computing power of your laptop, of your computer, to hide some of the point right here, so that we don't have to see so many points on your surface geometry, and you can using an easier way, for example, just a few points to change and control your model. So that's the things about a subdivision. So with a few control points, and we still can use the very efficient way to change and get the shape you want, right? So that's the things. That's the major three difference between these three. First one, nerves modeling, is more like a vector drawing ways. So you can enlarge this one or reduce the size as you want. And for the second one, polygon modeling, basically the computing performance will be better than the first time, but it's not that accurate at all. And for the third way, basically it's a little bit like the combination between the first one and second one. But basically it still follows the same logic like the second one. So that's the major three modeling way. All right. So for now, any questions so far? For the local student, do you understand what I am talking about, or I have to slow down my speed? 本地生同学，你们会需要我再降低一点点速度吗？基本上我们会有一些 introduction 啊，所以呢，就这个地方你们可能还是要稍微练习一下你的英文听力哦。那当然有些地方我可能讲的还是会有一点点口语化一点的，所以呢，你们大概就稍微习惯一下下就可以了哦。All right, so 大概跟你们这样很快的这边的提点，其实基本上我们这边就是在介绍在 3D 建模里面最主要的3种不同建模方式：曲面型的建模，然后多边形建模跟细分多边形建模这3种啊。那第一个的话，它比较是用在工业设计的，因为它可以无限制的放大，它的曲率不会改变。那第二种的话呢，就是在常见于多媒体的形态，可能像是动画、游戏类等等，因为它的计算效能会比较好。那第三种其实就有点介于第一跟第二种之间，那但是它基本上呢是把你的模型预先细分化，先把它预先平滑以后，把中间的一些点给隐藏掉。那这个大概就是细分多边形的建模。Alright, so that's it. That's the introduction in Chinese version. I hope that you can get the hints. Alright, so let's keep moving forward. Now let's take a look about the user interface of Rhino-Sid. So please go get used to that. I think for Rhino-Sid, it's a relative old 3D software. Probably not that old like 3ds Max or Maya, but it's still pretty old. Like probably, I think it already has 20 years or even more. Let's take a look. So first thing is, if you are using Rhino 7 or Rhino 8 and in PC version, the user interface you will get will be pretty much like mine. So if yours is different, please try to change that into my settings so that when I am going to do the operation, you can completely follow my operations. So first things, let's take a look. Here is the scroll down list. So if you move your mouse icon to here, you can see there are a lot of sub lists right here. And if there is a little arrow on the right side, there will be even more sub menu inside. Right here, you can find all the command and all the settings in this scroll down list. Okay, scroll down list right here. So first one for file, I think I don't need to mention that anymore. That's the basic operation in all the different software, like open a file, save the file, import a different format file, etc. So I think there's nothing special. For the rest part, based on the different function domain, so you can find the curve operation, surface operation, subdivision, mesh, dimension, and coding things. So there is a very interesting thing inside RhinoSys. The major software, the major program, the major software of RhinoSys, it was written in C++. But for RhinoSys, because it provides an open framework for the developer. So if you want, you can use Visual Basic to do your codings. You can also use Python or using the C# to do the coding inside Rhinos. So it's like an open framework. It provides an APK toolkit for the developer, and you can use that to do your own design in different computer language. See, that's a pretty good thing for Rhino. Unlike Unreal, it only provides you the C++. Unlike Unity, probably you can only do the C# inside Unity. And for RhinoSys, if you want to create some customized plugin or customized script, you can use Rhino script, that's the Visual Basic one, or Python script, that's the Python one. And for the C# one, you can do that inside Rhino Grasshopper. So just let you know, guys. And second part, the command bar. That's a pretty old setting. Probably for most of you haven't known this one before. For the old versions of that kind of 3D computer-aided software, usually we will have the command line. So for example, if you want a curve, maybe I can just type in points, and you can just choose in points. And if you want to draw in a curve, and then you can choose in, okay, I want to draw a curve. So something like that. It's a little bit similar. It's a little bit similar to input some command, some instruction inside, and then choosing the right command, you can do the operation. So for this one, if you are familiar enough with RhinoSys or another CAD software, you can just using the command without the GUI interface. That's the thing. Okay, now let's take a look about the interface. Right now, my interface in Chinese and also English version, my RhinoSys is Rhino 7. And probably for some of you, yours is Rhino 8 or Rhino 6. I'm not so sure. But basically, the interface is supposed to be the same. So here is the working layout panel. You can see that right here, once you change to the different panel, you will change the interface as well. So sometimes if you cannot find the command icon on your screen, probably you won't go to the different working panel. You go to the different working layout. Usually we'll just stay in the first one, the standard layout. Sometimes we will change that, go to the subdi panel or maybe rendering panel. So you can see that once I change to the rendering panel, the left side icon will totally different. So if you find out your interface is different from mine, let's go back to the standard layout. All right, so let's keep moving forward. So on the right side right here is the toolbars. Usually, I think right here is quite enough for you guys to dealing with the following work. So you don't have to change that, or you don't have to switch to another different panel. So here is the different icons of the command inside RhinoSys. And if you see there's a little triangle on the bottom side, it means there are more sub-menus, sub-icons inside. That's the design of the Rhino series, very engineer style because it's a software for engineering. Okay, so take a look. So here is the scene. So if you see the little triangle on the bottom side, you will see more icon inside. But don't worry about that. Basically, if you want to make your model, you just need to know a few different commands. It will be quite enough. So now let's take a look about the interface right here. So as far as you can see, right now we are in the perspective view. And if you want to do the operation just like mine, for now you can follow my operation. If you want to do the same operation like mine to navigate inside Rhino6, you can use your mouse to do that. First thing is RMB to rotate, which means right mouse button to rotate. You can rotate your camera, right? And if you want to zoom in or zoom out, hold on your control key and your right mouse button, you can zoom in and zoom out. Or just simply using middle mouse icon and you can zoom in and zoom out, right? And shift and right mouse button, you can pan your camera. So that's the three different ways to operate your camera inside 3D software. Pretty much the same in all different 3D software. For Unreal, for Blender, pretty much the same. Right mouse button to rotate your camera. And for zoom in and zoom out, hold on your control key and right mouse button, you can zoom in and zoom out. Or you just simply use your middle mouse button. And last things, if you want to do the pan, just pan, move your camera, hold on your shift key and the right mouse button. So you can do that. So the first one, right now we are in the perspective view. If you want to jump to the right view, left view, or side view, well, because when we are working on your model, when we are working on your product, sometimes please turn off your microphone again, okay? All right, so if you want to turn on, go to the different view, then you can just double click to here, double click to on your titles, like perspective, right, front, so that you can jump out that view. If you want to jump in, then double click again, okay? You can jump in again. So just like this, jump in, jump out. Very simple, nothing special. And there's another way that you can just simply click right here. Perspective, top view, front view, right view. And if you want add more view, just simply click here and you can create a new layout for your model. So that's the thing. Basically, the setting of your model will follow your file. So every file can have a different setting. Please remember that, right? So just double click on the title and you can jump in, jump out to the full side view. Or you can just simply click the panel right here and you can go to a different view, right? Let's keep moving forward. So next thing is very important to know. Since Rhino is a 3D software, so we will use the gumbo to do the operation. For this stuff, actually you will see that inside Blender, Unity, Rhino, or Unreal, see this kind of things very often. And inside Rhino, we call this one gumbos, and inside Unreal, they will have a different name. So the gumbo looks like this. Basically, it will look like that. If you don't have that, please turn on that. It will be right here. Once you turn off that, it will disappear. On the bottom side, you will see the gumbo. And the interesting thing inside Rhino is that if you cannot find where the gumbo is, you can just directly type in gumbo in the command so that you will see, okay, you want to turn on that or turn off that. So basically, it's a very engineer style. You can just directly input the command right here. So let me turn on the gumbo again. All right, turn on. So here is a gumbo. Let's take a look about the design of the gumbo. So first thing, the blue arrow means the Z-axis. Okay, I want to share my screen sharing. All right. The blue axis means the Z-axis. The green arrow means the Y-axis. The red axis means the X-axis. So that once you drag this one, you can move your object. Okay? Once you move this one, you can move your object. And right here on the side, you can see there are a couple little arcs on the side. So for that one, it's for rotations. You can use this one for rotating. Okay? You can use this one for rotations. So very simple. You can just simply choose one of the model right here and do the operation. So let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at this one. So if you want to move, just directly drag this one. Drag this one. If you want to rotate, then just drag the little arc on the side. And finally, there is a little, very, very little rectangle on the side, like the blue one, green one, and red one. It means scaling. So you can use this one for scaling your model. Very simple, right? And for this part, there is a little dot in the middle of the arrow. It means extrusion. For that part, we can do that later. So for now, just get used to that. It will be quite enough. I will stop right here for a while so that you guys can take a look about the interface of the Rhino-6. And if you got a question and you face some problem when you are operating your software, just raise your hand and I can try to help you. So let's give you probably around 5 minutes to get used to the interface and the operation inside Rhino. Then we can keep moving forward. So first things, let's talk about the idea of curvatures. Here. Is there anyone who can explain the idea of curvature to me? 同学有没有人可以跟我讲一下曲率的这个东西的概念？ Alright, so actually I want to pick up someone to answer these questions, but in order to save time, I will just directly answer this one for you. Probably you are too shy to answer my questions. For the next time, probably I will do that. And you can use in Chinese to answer my question if you need. Probably you are too shy to say English, it is fine. Just using Chinese to explain your idea, it will be fine. 同学，我们这边就是因为我们是 EMI 课啦，所以呢，还是会鼓励你们在课堂上尽量练一下英文啊。即便有些术语可能你们不是很方便去讲，那也没关系，那你就先用中文。不过还是以后尽量我们就用英文来试试看。那我们来看一下曲率是什么东西啊 ？Alright, so let's just take a look about what is the curvature. Inside rhinoceros, the curvature is a very important thing because we need to use curvature to analyze your surface, whether it is a continuous surface or not. So let's take a look. First thing, let's draw a curve. This is a curve, right? This is a curve. And if we type in the command curvatures right here in the command bar, so that it will ask you to select curve or surface to curvature measurement. So let's choose this one. Right? Let's choose this one. So it will show up a little sphere, a little circle show up on the curve. And when you go to this kind of transition point, the circle will get enormous, super large. And then you will turn to another side, keep moving forward, something like that. So this is about a curvature. So what's that mean? What's that for? Basically, inside rhinoceros, inside the nervous curve or nervous surface, all the surface can compose by numerous circle. So you can see that it means that for this part, this section of the curve actually is part of the section on this circle. And on here, it will turn into a little bit smaller because the curvature probably is a little bit higher. So it will turn into a smaller circle. And here, turn large again. And right here, because it's very close to a straight line. So basically, the curvature looks probably almost unlimited. It becomes internally a super large number. So what's the definition of the curvatures? It means this one. This is the curvatures. A general definition, okay? It's a very general and simple definition. If you take a look about the definition on the Wikipedia, it will be more complicated than this. But if we say that inside the rhinoceros, we can just generalize and simplify the definition by this one. So when we are working on this one, let's do that again. Once we understand the curvature means 1 divided by the radius, r means radius of the circle. So once we understand the definition of the curvature, let's take a look about the curvature analysis again. So for this one, you can see that why this one turned into so huge, and why this one turned. For this one, when the circle becomes super large, which means the curvature is super close to 0. So right here, since this one is almost like a straight line, so for sure the curvature is 0. And for this one, when your curvature is super high, it means your curve will look much more. It will have much more transition on that. So let's take a look at another one. Let's draw another even more probably dramatic curve. This one, all right? Let's do it using the curvature to analyze that again. Curvatures. So you can see that for this one, since the circle is super small, which means the radius of the circle is small, so the curvature will be super large. For this part, the curvature is very high. Right here, this is very close to a straight line, so basically the circle is almost like maybe super large, probably infinity super large. So this one, the curvature will be super low, very close to zero. So we can use curvature number to describe a smoothness of a curve. If the curvature is super high, it's super smooth, and you will have so many transitions. And if the curvature is super low, it will very close to a straight line. So that's the things. If we use the same idea, you can do that in the surface as well. Let's do that. Rotate this one to 90. But if we go to the surface way, this one is the two-dimensional curve, right? And this one is a three-dimensional surface. So they are a little bit different. But basically, the idea is pretty much the same. Since right now we are using circle to analyze the curvature, so for this one, you can see that it will become sphere. Okay, basically it will become sphere. But the weird things of the difference between the surface and also the curve is that this one has two sides. It has the upside and also a downside. So basically, in certain point, the curvature definition will be a little bit tricky because it has the upside and downside, but that's another thing. But anyway, just hope that you guys can understand that. We can use the curvature to analyze the curve. So let's take a look. For this one, you don't have to follow the line operation. Let me draw a sphere. And I want to, here is a sphere, here is a box. And let me bullet it. Okay, this one. Basically, both of them are surface inside rhinoceros. Let's you try to analyze the curvature of these two. So when we're talking about the smoothness of the curvatures. So what's that mean? For this one, if we're using a command which named zebra, so you can see that basically the zebra is a visual way to show the curvatures. So if you see the zebra, all the let's say this kind of black and white pattern is continuously on the surface geometry, it means that the curvature is continuous. But for this one, let's do it again. You can see that the curvature is not continuous at all. This one, it has its own curvature. And for the box, it has a total different curvature. Because obviously this one, the curvature probably is very close to zero. And for that one, it's super high based on the radius of this sphere. So they are different things. When we are working on product design, for example, maybe in the future, you are going to, although you are not industrial design department student, but maybe in the future, you still have to make some mock-up or prototype of your installation, something like that. These things will become very important because the smoothness, it will be about, it will be related to the things when you are going to manufacture or fabricate large. All right, anyway, let's turn off that. That's about the curvature. Now let's take a look about the curve. So just make you guys to understand the idea of curvature inside rhinoceros. Okay， 同学，基本上我们在 Rhino 内我们把我们的曲率的定义简化成 r⁻1。r 的话，其实就是指说在该线段这个圆的半径尺寸。那所以你大家就能够想象啊，就是说这一条，我们可以把这条曲线想象成它是由无数个小圆所组成的嘛。所以呢，像这边的话，这个圆就会很小，因为它的曲率，它的这个曲面的波动很大，它的转换很大，所以圆就很小。那圆既然很小，这 r 就会很小，曲率就会很大。那如果它越接近是直线，就是它基本上这个 r 它就会接近是无限大，那它就会曲率变得非常非常小。大概就是这样就可以了哦。那我们大概就会通过这样的方式去分析说一条曲线或者说一个曲面它的连续性是否足够。那这个会在你们建模或者说你们在未来要数位制造的时候会有一些很大的关联性哦。Alright, so let's keep moving forward. This is about the curvature. Now let's talk about the level, which means the degree of the curve inside rhinoceros. Once we finish that, we can take a rest. So inside rhinoceros, let's take a look. When we draw a curve, you can see that it will ask you what's the degree of the curve. So now this is the degree 4 curve. What does that mean? In order to understand that, we have to using a command which named reveal. Sorry, wait for a second. All right. So we have to using a command which named reveal to know what's the meaning of degree. Let's go to here, edit, and choosing reveal. And right here, there will be a panel show up. It will tell you how many points on this curve and what's the degree of this curve. So what's the meaning of the curve? What's the meaning of the degree? What's the meaning of the point? And what's the meaning of the degree? Basically, inside Rhinosis, if you take a look about the original script of the curve, basically it will tell you this curve is composed by points. So for example, like this curve, it will have 8 points on this curve. And for every point, between every point, there will be a vector to show you how to connect this point together. So that's the composition inside of the curve inside Rhinosis. A little bit different from the polygon model inside Blender. For Rhinosis, the nerve curve is like that. And what's the meaning of the degree? The degree means the smoothness of the curve. It's a little bit different from curvature, but basically that's another way to show the smoothness of the curve. So if the degree is higher, then it means the smoothness of the curve will be higher. And also your file, the size of your file will get bigger. Okay, so that's very important. So usually we don't use probably degree 4 or degree 5, then because that will be too huge. The file size will get super huge for your model. So usually degree 3 will be quite enough. So let's take a look. Let's try to rebuild this curve. Right now it has 8 points and it has 4 degrees. It is in degree 4. So let's try to reduce that. Let's try to change that to degree 4 is okay, but I want a point count 5. So now you can change that. If we keep the points but we just change, wait for a second. Let's copy this one. And let me rebuild this one again. Let's go to edit, rebuild, or you can just directly type in rebuild right here. If we change the type, if we change the degree but still keep the same point count, or the degree 2, you can see that the smoothness is a little bit different, but the shape still looks the same, and also the curve still looks pretty much the same. So that's the thing. First is the point that will come. It will define the composition of the curve, and the degree will define the smoothness of the curve. So we can by using these 2 parameters, we can change a different way and create a different curve. So for example, if you want to have a low poly or a very sharp angle curve, let's try to do that. Let's reduce the number of the degree, change that to 1, so it will become like a polygon, like a regular straight curve, just like that. And one important thing is, when you are going to compose your curve or surface, just always remember the points count has to be always bigger than the degree. So for example, it's impossible for you to create a point count 1, degree 1 curve, and the minima is 2, right? Otherwise, it's impossible for you to create a curve. So that's the thing. All right. So for this part, you don't have to do the operation. Just remember this a few important ideas inside Rhinosis. It will be quite enough. 同学，我这边跟你们稍微提一下，基本上在 Rhino 里面，我们的曲线是有阶数之分的。那大概有1、2、3、4、5、6、7，应该最高可以到7哦。那到第7阶的时候，基本上它其实就是相当于你把它做好几次的微积分了，所以它就会变得它的平滑程度会变得很高。那你的模型呢也会变得非常的平滑，但是通常那样的答案会太大。所以我们一般来讲，除非你是要做非常高精度的模型，可能就是你要开模用的，或者说你要拿来做飞机的，或者是汽车等等的，然后你要来做原型的话，那我们才会用到那样的程度哦。通常的话，一般来讲3就够了。Alright, so that's just the important concept inside Rhinosis. Right now is 10:28. Let's take a rest until 10:50. Then we will keep moving forward. Just like what I mentioned before, for this class, usually I will just directly take a 30 minutes break. Then we can keep moving forward. If you haven't installed Rhinosis on your laptop or you haven't downloaded the case study software yet, please download that. For this class, I will encourage you, and actually I will try to ask you guys to finish the practice on the class so that you don't have to do the rest of review and practice after we dismiss. Okay, so that's it. Let's take a 20-minute. Actually, we should. Yeah, let's take a 20 minutes break until 10:50. Then we will keep moving forward. 同学，我们休息一下，我们直接休息20分钟的时间，然后我们就再继续了。Alright, so now we are about to start the practice for rhinoceros. So I will start with the basic command, okay? So you can just imagine like that. For the command, it's just like the vocabulary that you have. And once you have the vocabulary, then you can use this vocabulary to compose your composition or compose your sentences, just like that. So if you have more vocabulary, you are able to do something more complicated things. You are able to write a very beautiful essays or probably a beautiful slogan, something like that. So that's the thing. But inside parentheses, in order to create a word, you don't need to know too many commands. You just have to know some few simple commands. It will be quite enough. The idea about the drawing and also the understanding about how to compose the geometry still will be the most important things. 同学，我觉得在 Rhino 里面要建模，其实不会到需要了解这边一大堆的指令，你们再只要掌控几个就够了。那当然，如果你掌控的越多，那你越熟悉，当然你就会越厉害嘛。可能像是也许建筑系或者说是公社系，他们会需要了解更多。但是基本上，其实你如果想要做一个基本的一个模型的话，其实不需要了解到很多哦。Alright, so let's keep moving forward. Okay. So first things, let me give you the understanding about how to model things inside rhinoceros. Let's create a box first. You don't have to follow my operation right now. I will give you time to do the operation. So let's take a look about this box. Basically, this looks like a solid geometry, just like a single box, right? But actually, this box is composed by 6 different planes, 6 different surfaces. So that's the idea of modeling inside rhinoceros. Basically, no matter what kind of geometry you make inside rhinoceros, if you use the nerves for modeling, basically it was composed by multiple surfaces. Okay, it was composed by multiple surfaces. Even for this one, pretty much the same. So, for example, if I use this to extrude, all right, now we have this geometry. But actually, it's still composed by 6 different surfaces. This one, that one, that one. So, to make the model inside rhinoceros, since it's a very accurate and precise 3D modeling software, so all the things we did, usually we will start with the curve. After we have the curve, then we can get the surface. After we have the surface, then we can create the mass. We can create a solid geometry. That's the idea. Sometimes we can just directly start with the geometry and then manipulate that. For example, like this one, we can just directly, probably choosing the edge and start to rotate and do the operation. Yeah, we can do that as well. But that will be not that precise and accurate at all. So at the very beginning, still I will start with the curve. So first things, we need to now how to create a curve and how to turn that into an accurate surface. That would be the first mission. So let's start to do the sweep. Okay, sweeping is a very common use command inside rhinoceros. Basically, idea is just like this. So first is you have to set up a rail curve. This is the rail curve. Then how can we turn this one into a 3D surface? We need to create sections. So this is the section line. You can create many different section lines, and if you want, and change the shape, change the degree on that. So up to you. And there's no maximum number for that. You can use 1, or you can use 10, even 50, up to you. So after that, we have to compose them together. And rhinoceros will automatically help us to calculate the lines between the line we created. So which means that once we have these two, RhinoSys will automatically create the transition curve in between these two lines. And same for this part. So once we finish this one, then we will cut the curve. So that's the things. What about this one? The curve on the surface. What's that? What is that? We call this one iso curve. This one is iso curve. Basically, you can just imagine iso curve is the lines between the structure line, these two structure lines. So this is the iso curve. And for the model which has more iso curve, it will be more dense and also it will be more heavy in the size. And so which means if your model has many sections iso curve on that, probably the size of the file will be very huge. Okay, just understand that it will be fine. All right, so let's try to do that. Let's do the operations. I will delete. You can just directly copy this one. I will delete this part. Let's select the operation frame so that we can use that one as a reference. Okay. So how to do the selection? Inside Rhino, we can just using your mouse to do the scroll. You can just drag and select. Okay, drag and select, or you can just simply click. And if you want to do the multi-selections, hold on your Shift key, and you can do the multi-selections. 同学，就是说你们要做多重选择的话，那基本上在所有软体里面几乎是一样的，就按照 Shift 键就可以做多重选择哦。那你们也可以直接用框选的方式，就按住 Shift 键，然后你就直接用滑鼠框选。So let's finish this selection and hold on your Alt key, Alt key on your keyboard. For Mac version, I think, I'm not so sure, probably Command key, because I'm not so sure the Alt key in Mac version is Command or another one. But anyway, it's still over there. Try Command or another one. So let's use the Alt key to copy this one. Once you hold on Alt key and drag, it will copy your stuff that you choose. So for example, like this one, you can hold or you can copy, right? So that's the thing. So once we finish the duplication, the copy of the operation frame, then we can start. The first thing is to create a trail curve, right? So let's go to here, choosing the control point curve. There are many different ways that we can create a curve. One is the control curve. Okay, this is the control curve. And another one is the insert point curve. For the insert point curve, probably for you guys, that will be more intuitive because the points will be on the curve so that you can know exactly how it will look like. Okay, but anyway, that's the thing. And if you want to draw a sharp curve, then you can use polyline. So this is about the polyline. For this time, we're going to using control curve. So let's just choosing the first one. It will be quite enough. Let's click. And for now, please turn on this one. There is an option which named OSnap. What does that mean? Which means object snap. For the Mac version, it will show up on your left side. It will show up on your left side. So please check. First thing, turn on that. And here, there are some options that we can choose. End point, midpoint, intersection, blah, 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 etc. What does that mean? It means that once you turn on the OSnap, which means object snap, RhinoSys will help you when you are working on your model drawing. It will help you to move your selection or move your point automatically move to these references point. So for example, if you want to snake to the midpoint of the operation frame, then it will show up middle. And here it will show up endpoint, intersection point, and not. So something like that. So basically, it's a help supporting tool that can help us to make our model much more precise. Okay, that means object snap. So usually in my experience, I will choose to snap to endpoint, point, midpoint, and intersection point, tangent point, etc. So you can follow my setting. Or if you don't want to remember the setting like this, you can just select all, except the project. Don't turn on this one and don't turn on this one. For if you turn on this one, disable, basically everything will turn into gray, which means it's not working anymore. So don't choose this one. And for the project, I will tell you what that means later. So please don't choose that one. 同学哦，这边是物件锁定的功能，基本上就是帮助你们在绘制的时候能够精确的去锁定到我们的对象物件上面，这样建模才不会出现误差哦。那如果你们不想要记得这里面的设定，就请你们直接把全部都选起来，那记得不要选后面这个投影跟 disable， 就是停用这两个功能就好了，其他你们都可以选，没差哦。那如果你们想要就是跟我一样的设定的话，就按照我这边的设定去控制就可以了。Let's give you probably 1 minute to do this operation, then we can keep moving forward.新的，不是我帮你签了吗？
那是另外一个。
哦。你是去金展吗？
我刚刚下面都有签到，就是新的那天没有。
Okay, so once you finish the setting of the old snap, then you can have this function. So when you draw, it will automatically snap your object, snap your points, snap your curve to the target references. So now let's draw the first curve. That's the trail curve. Let's just randomly draw. So you can just draw a H shape like this. Basically, you don't have to completely follow mine, but just make sure it doesn't have a too dramatic transition on that. It will be quite enough. And also, let me remind you an important feature of Rhinosys. If you don't have any other references object, for example, if you don't have a box on your side, and you just directly draw your object based on your perspective, usually, Rhinosys will automatically snap your object to the zero plane surface, which means this part. Okay? So probably you see, alright, right now I'm working on a 3D model. I drew something like that. Alright? I drew something like that. But actually, it's a plan. Alright? Actually, it's a plan. So that's the feature of a Rhinosys. Although, okay, you rotate your perspective to this way, and right now you think, alright, I'm drawing on something vertical, something for shot on your model, but actually it's a plane work, right? It's a plane work, something like that. So if you want to draw something in the X direction, if you want to draw something in the Z direction, make sure go to the front view or right view. It will be easier, right? Right here, the things you draw, for sure, because for this part, it will directly snap all your object to ZY plane. So the scenes will look like this. So it will directly snap and make your scenes become a flattened object but in a vertical way. And if you want to draw the vertical scenes just in the perspective, then you need a reference object, just like this. Okay, let's draw, so that it will become a vertical object. So that's the thing. Alright, let's just keep moving forward. 同学，我这边稍微提醒一下，就在 Rhino 里面呢，它的设定是这样，就是如果你是在透视的模式，或者是说你是在一般平面模式的话，它会自动帮你把物件对应到那一个视角它的平面上。像以这个视角来讲，就是 YX 的平面了。那如果你想要画垂直的，就记得你要转换一下视角会比较方便，要不然的话就是要有参考物件。Alright, so I draw a curve like this. This is a plane curve. The next thing we need to have is 3-section curve, right? Let's just randomly draw 3-section curve. In order to speed up the process, I will just hold on the Alt key and directly copy 3 curves. And probably for the second one, once we click, and we can change the contour curve to a different curvatures. So, okay, something like that. So here we go. And for that one, let's choose and move. Right? So now we have 3 section curve. 1 trail curve, 3 section curve. So now let's try to combine them together. Let's merge them together. And please remember this one, just like what we have mentioned before. Since right now we are drawing the object inside the perspective. So the things we have, let's take a look. If your camera is not that dynamic at all, it's not that precise at all, and you want to focus on the things right now we are working on, choosing the object first and click this button. Zoom in so that your camera will focus on the point, focus on the object you choose. All right, so let's take a look. So the things we drew actually is a flattened object. It was snapped on the XY planes. So in order to make the curve can be a 3D curve just like this, so we need to rotate this one. Otherwise, you can imagine that if we just directly move this one to here, for sure they are still plane. You will get a plane surface. So in order to make this one become a 3D, the section has to be rotate into 90 degrees. So that's choosing the X direction, rotate 90 degrees. So this one as well, rotate. Choosing the curve, click the red arc, and type in 90 on this frame. So it will rotate 90 degrees. Let's do it again, okay? Just finish that one as soon as possible. Choosing this part, click, type in the number you want, 90, 90, and 90. So now we got 3 sections curve, and it is vertical to the trail line. So now let's finish this one. Let's choosing transform and move tool. Move the object to the target direction. Let's do that again. Once you click enter, then you can repeat the last command that we did. So let's just quickly move the curve to the target one. Okay, let's give you a hint. So shift from this object, move using this command to move the geometry in a precise way. And important things, it's very common to see. Enter. Then we can repeat. Sorry for that. Okay, we can repeat the last command. So that's the thing. Please help me to finish this one, and then we can finish this other. Let's finish the final step first, okay? So once we have the trail curve and 3 section curve, you can have more, up to you. But anyway, let's finish this one. Surface, sweep 1 rail. Let's go to surface, sweep 1 rail. And choosing the rail first, choosing the 3 sections, and enter. Then we can have the curve. We can have the 3D surface like that. Right? So that's the things. That's about how to make this one. Let's do the repetition again, okay? So that you guys can take a look. So first things, in order to get a surface, we need to have 2 different things. First thing is rail curve. Let's choosing the curve and draw one. Okay? And it will be a plane curve. It is okay. Let's just leave them as a plane curve. Now let's draw 3 section curve. You can have more, up to you. In order to speed, I will just directly copy the same one. Hold on your auto key and you can copy it. Now let's try to change, make some differences. So for this one, I will try to change that. All right, so now I have 3 different curves. And right now they are all in the same plane. They are all on the ZX plane. So in order to create a 3D surface, we have to rotate this one to 90 degrees so that make sure the section line is vertical with the trail curve. Let's rotate this one on X direction, 90, 90, and 90. Okay, so now we have. Finally, let's combine them together. We have to move them together So let's go to transform and move, or you can just directly type move right here. Then choosing the object, press enter when you're done. So let's just finish. Let's press enter again, and you can repeat the last command. Choosing this one, enter, and move them here. So for every time, if you want to repeat your move operation, you have to press 2 enter. Let's move. Let's do it again. So now we have finally create a surface. 3 run rail, select a rail, 3 curve, enter. So now we have. Okay, let's give you probably around 10 minutes until 11:25. Then we will keep moving forward. So for the rest of the part, we will just simply using sweep 1 and also the rebuild command to create the alien juicer. So please get familiar with this operation. If you got question, just raise your hand or come to here. I will try to help you. 同学，给你们在10分钟稍微熟悉一下这边的操作哦。那我们等一下就。So once you know how to do the sweep, basically, I think you can do probably around 50%, 60% modeling things inside Rhinoceros. All the rest of command actually is using the same idea just like sweep. So inside Rhinoceros, in order to get the shape you want, the most important thing is to get the right shape of the curve. Once you can have that, then you are able to turn that one into a surface and compose and merge the surface into the solid masses, solid geometries. So now let's try to using the alien juicer as a references. We are going to do this one. Of course, not exactly precise 3D model, because if you want to get an industrial level model, it will be very complicated. Take a look about this one. Here we have the nature fillet on the border. So, and also right here on the bottom side, this part. In order to make this one can work and can be manufactured in the real factory, this part also do some little detail on the border part, on the ending part. So it's impossible for us to do that right now. After we only know 2 commands. One is rebuild, another one is sweep. But with these 2, we can make a rough sketch model like this. So still we can do that, but without the detail. Okay, so that's the thing. So first thing, let's take a look about the alien juicer first. So alien juicer, I think for if you are the technical high school student in Taiwan, I guess for probably your high school teacher has already introduced this guy to you guys before. Is there anyone know who he is? Can you raise your hand? 同学有人知道这个老先生是谁吗？ Alright, so some of you raise your hand. Okay, so anyway, he's a French industrial designer, Philippe Starr, probably one of iconic generation in 20th century. And usually his design work is very joyful and playful, so he makes some very, very interesting product. And this one probably is one of his most iconic design product, alien juicer, collaborate with Alessi. It's very hard to use. If you have ever used that before, it's very, very hard to use. But anyway, it's a very iconic one because it makes a product looks like a sculpture. It just exactly looks like a sculpture. So usually people buy that not because it's very functional or very useful, just because it is beautiful. All right. Anyway, so let's try to keep moving forward. First start alien juicer. Let's try to make this model in Rhinoceros as your first work. So how can we make this one? First things, no matter what kind of 3D model you are going to do, or what kind of software you are going to use. First things, I strongly suggest you to do the analysis first. So which means that you have to understand how to divide your model into some simpler portion, so that we can start with a simple portion first, then finally compose them together. That will be the modeling way. So for now, we have an AI tool. We have a lot of different AI tools. We can just directly upload your photo to the website, then merge them together. And then download them together. But for now, the photometry 3D model is still not good enough and detailed enough for manufacturing. So that's the thing. So sometimes we still have to do the manually model, because the AI 3D model is not perfect at all. All right, anyway, let's start. So for the phase start, the alien juicer, basically you can see that it was composed by a hand and also 3 legs. And then if we go to the top view to see the alien juicer, you can see that the 3 different legs actually was located on a triangle shape. And all these 3 different legs, they have the 120 degree between them, right? So that's the thing. We can start with the head first, then start to do one leg, and just copy them to the different position and merge them together. It will be your final product. Okay? So let's get started. So first thing, how can we make the head? How can we make the head? So the head looks a little weird. It has some weird spike on the surface. So how can we do that? Do we have to using the sweep to do this kind of spike on the surface? Actually, no. If you remember, this one we have the command which named rebuild, so we can use that to make the head. Let's start with the sphere first. So first things, let's using a simple geometry to do the basic model. Let's choosing here. Where is the sphere? Go to the box, click the triangle, choosing the third one, the sphere, center and radius, which means you have to define where is the center, then define the radius second. So let's choosing the third one. Choosing a center point, let's choosing here. And I would strongly suggest you hold on your shift key for now, so that it will turn on the orthographic drawing way, force your model face to the front and the side direction. So I will hold on the shift key and make sure the sphere can face to the front view and side view. If you didn't do that, it will be a free form. Okay, it will be a free form. So hold on the shift key, it will be a better option. 同学，我觉得在绘制的时候，尤其像这个时候，我会建议你们按对你的 Shift 键，这样的话，你们就可以变成是正交水平的绘制方式哦，这样比较不会跑掉，那也会比较精确。Alright, so let's draw. So now we have a sphere. Let's go to the top view. Let's go to the top view. You can hold on your shift key again and scale down the sphere. Just make sure the size of the sphere is more or less similar to the reference model. So I hold on the shift key and click the red rectangle or green rectangle. Scale down, scale up the sphere. All right? Okay, so once you have this sphere, how can we turn this one to something like this? So in order to do that, we have to rebuild this one. Do you remember that? For the curve like this one thinner curve, basically we call that isocurve. It shows the structure of the surface. So right now, obviously, the structure of this one and that one, they are different. in order to make this one looks like that, we have to change the structure of this surface. So we can use in reveal to do that. So first things, let's do that. Let's go to edit. No, I will move this one to here. Then choosing the surface first, go to edit, choosing rebuild. Now we can start to do the rebuild of the surface. So first things, let's talk about the U and the meaning of the U and the V. Meaning of the U and V. If you don't remember the meaning of the U and V, it is okay. Just remember that's the meaning of that. They are pretty much the same, just like the X and Y, but it's in a non-planar surface world. Okay, so basically U and V, they means the X and Y in surface world, in the surface. So let's try to do that. Let's choosing a surface sphere, go to edit and choosing rebuild. Now let's start to do the rebuilding. So in order to make them look same, we have to change the number of isocurve. So which means that we have to calculate how many curves we have on this model. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So basically including the inner one, for the totality, we need to have 24. Let's type in 24. So the U actually means the horizontal direction. The V means the vertical direction. How about the vertical direction? For the vertical part, I think we only need around 4 or 3, it will be quite enough. So let's type in 4. For this side, I will type in 4. Okay? So once you finish, let's click OK. How about the degree? For the degree, we don't have to change that right now. You just keep the setting like this, 3 by 3 or 2 by 2. Both of them are fine. So once you finish, click OK. So now we have a sphere like this. So please help me to finish this one. I will leave my screen like this so that you can take a look at the setting of mine. All right. So let's keep moving forward. Once you finish the rebuilding of the sphere, next thing we can start to shape the sphere to the reference. So how can we do that? First things, right now this is just a simple sphere. In order to edit the shape, we have to turn on the control point. Usually I will call the control point as the sub-object of this model. So you can go to here, click the button, show the object control point, so that you can turn on the control point. Or another way is that you can use the hotkey. If you're using a PC, you can press F10 on your keyboard, so that you can turn on the control point of your model. So the next thing is we can start to do that. First thing, use frame selection, okay? For this part, please make sure you're using the frame selection. Otherwise, if you just right click, maybe you think you already selected the point, but actually you will only select the top part of the point, all right? In this part, we need to select the upper and the lower point as well. All right. So let's choosing using frame selection. Select both of the points here, here. So basically, let's choosing them. So the first, let's choosing the second one, the first one, the sixth one. Follow this order to finish the selection of the vertex. Okay. So once we finish the selection, the gumbo is supposed to show in the middle, supposed to show in the center because you selected the wrong a circular point. So the gumbo is supposed to show in the center. That's the end. And then you can hold on your shift key, click the rectangle or green rectangle, start to scale down or scale up. I will stop right here. Remember to hold on your shift key, otherwise you cannot do multi-selection and also you cannot do the scaling in a uniform way. 同学这边的选取哦，记得你们要最好是用框选的方式，而不是使用点选。因为如果你们在上次使用点选，那你们只会点选到你们看到的点，不会点选到下面的点。那第二件事情是说，你们在点选的时候，如果要做多重点选，像我们现在在做就是多重点选，记得按住你的 Shift 键。那同时缩放的时候也一样，我们基本上就是把这些点往内缩，那它就会往里面凹了。All right, guys. let's keep moving forward. I'm not so sure we can finish the whole scene today, but anyway, at least we have to finish the head. So basically, in order to get this kind of star-like sphere, the most important thing is about the control point operation. So we just scale down the size of the control point and move them into the center so that it will look like a star. The next thing is let's go to the side view. All right, let's go to the side view. You can see that right now we have the shape like this, but all the points there are not on the same plane. I don't like that. Usually I prefer they can stay in the same plane. But it is okay, I would say. I think for now it looks fine. So if you want to make first them to stay in the same plane, let's just flat them into 0 point. It will be fine. Choose a frame selection all the points. And then choosing the scale, type in 0 because you scale them into the 0 in your zero vector, it will force them to be flattened on the plane. So let's type in 0, so it will be down. All right, so next thing is let's just drag, move that, make them looks longer. All right, let's just make them longer. So how about the last part? How about the spike in the buttons? Very simple. Because for the sphere, let's take a look. Actually, in the bottom side, there is a control point right here. So let's just move them down. It will be fine. So choosing them like this. And probably you can change the shape by yourself. If you think it doesn't look good, then we can still change that. So just make this one look fine and it will be done. Once you finish, click here again using your right mouse button to click this button, to click this icon again. You can turn off the control point. All right? Or you can press F11 on your keyboard to turn off the control point. Let's take a look about the result. It will look like this. And probably you will think, okay, it doesn't look exactly like this one because the shape, the upper part is supposed to be showing a little bit more. Then you can just review again and probably increase more segment in a vertical way, in a vertical side. All right? Then we can just refine that. Right? Just refine that. Probably enlarge a little bit, something like that. Right? Something like that. So up to you. For this part, it's not necessary. So you can, I will just keep like this. So please help me to finish this one. Wait for a second. Yeah, you can put your stuff. Okay, thank you. Basically, right now, since we already have the ring selection of the vertex, then gumbo is in the center, right? So we will, when we scale this one, it will use the center as the scaling center point to scale. Let's just scale down. So if you scale up, it will be like this.
Okay. Thank you.
Remember to hold on the shifter key so that you will scale them in the 3 directions.
Okay. Okay, I got it. 个绿色的点点，就是你勾选那个物件之后，为什么会有绿色的点那个箭头？因为我上面的箭头是蓝色的。
哦，你是说你这个箭头方向跟我不一样是不是？你这个跟我不一样是蓝色的。
对。
哦，那也没关系啊。不过基本上那是因为怎么说啊？有几个原因可能会有那个状况啦，就是像以我自己设定来讲，我喜欢日轴在上嘛。那但是你也可以设定成是其他轴在上，就是像我现在就可以去从你看这个是我的核心坐标轴，那你可以就是把它换成是其他轴在上，这是没有什么关系的。等一下，我先把它 reset。哦，这里了，你看，我们再来一次哦 ，City Plan Origin， 然后你可以就是让它跟世界坐标一样。那我们就来选一下哪一个是 World Plan， 那我就选择 Button， 那它就会是这样。那另外一个是你们好像如果是 Rhino 8，它会有一个选项，我有点忘记了，它会让你能够跟着你的物件去改变它的平面。等一下，像这个也是让我们能够去改变它的，像我现在转一下，看它就会可以让我去改变它的坐标方向，所以这个坐标其实可以去改的。然后你们的模型，我记得 Rhino 8的话，有一个小小的不一样，就是说，看你们选择的物件，它好像可以直接去帮你对位到这个平面，然后以这个平面为基准去做坐标轴，这也是，你可以在下面把它给关掉。你在下面把它给关掉，它就不会是的。对，大概是这样。这几个原因啦，第一个是世界坐标可能可以改，你有可能就是在设定的时候不一样。那个的话，我是觉得无所谓。那第二件事情是说，像以钢博来讲，它其实如果你按住 Ctrl 键，我们本来就可以去移动它的坐标轴，就是这样。然后第三个就是第三个是 Rhino 8的特色，就是你们下面会有一个选项能够去改 Rhino 的可以去直接改坐标轴位置。那你们先把那个关掉，它就不会每次都变来变去，大概是这样。OK。
那我可以再看，你刚刚因为它一开始刚转的时候，它的那上面那个点点不是会凹下去吗？你是怎么把它拉到变平的那个样子？
什么意思？
就是老师第一步用的那个归零的那个。
哦，没有那个没有什么，那个就是，我现在在弄的是一样。然后它这边有两个点，它们两个不同面嘛，对不对？那你要让它压到一个平面，其实你就是把它的 Y 轴方向变成是乘以0嘛，它就会变成是压到一个平面上面去了，对不对？像这个也一样啊。比方说我不要用这个，我们随便画一个方格子，它现在是有高度的嘛，Z 轴的高度。那如果你要让它变平的，那其实不是很简单吗？就是你就让它是乘以0嘛。就等于它的缩放方向，你把它乘一个0的倍数，那它就变成平的了。对，可是这会变成是有两个面叠在一起了。Rhino 是可以这样，Blender 那些就不要这样。OK， 那就这样。
Alright guys, so right now it's 11:54. Although we haven't finished the leg part, but I hope that you guys can finish the head by this class. So for the next class, we are going to finish this one as soon as possible because this is just a very simple practice. I think for first class, there are already enough information for today. So please, once you go back, if you are not that familiar with the operation, then try to take a look about the video, try to do the review, catch up the progress. And for the one, probably you have some problem on your laptop, or maybe you didn't bring your laptop, you install the software by yourself, then remember to do that, because that will be the basic requirement for the class next week. Okay, so that's all. 同学我这边提醒一下，就是我们今天，我想资讯量已经够了，可能你们对于一开始的就是英文课会比较不习惯，那，所以我们今天就先停在这边。那下礼拜的话，我们会尽快的把这一个 Alien Juicer 外星人榨汁机给结束掉哦。那个如果还没有做的同学，就请你们回家的时候尽快把进度给补上。那如果今天因为技术问题或电脑问题还没有安装或者没有做操作的，记得也回去一下，赶快把进度给补完了。Alright, so Right now it's 11:55, so I think that's all for today. If you don't have any other question, I won't do the roll call. After all, today is still the add-on and drop-off process, so I won't do the roll call. So if you don't have any other question, we can dismiss now. See you next week. 同学，如果你们没有其他问题，那我们今天就。